In 2021, Carson Macedo is back driving for the defending Knoxville Nationals champion team, Jason Johnson Racing, a combination that ran 6th during the 2018 Nationals. So far this season, they've been incredibly fast, their strongest track being Knoxville, where they swept the June doubleheader weekend. Carson and I got to know each other back in 2015, and if there's one guy who I think deserves to be on the Knoxville Nationals podium come Saturday night, I think it's him. And after watching this two-part chat, I think you'll understand exactly why I'm such a big fan of Carson. In this first part, Carson goes long and in depth on why he's so confident, what it's like working with accomplished crew chief Philip Dietz, why they're so fast on half-mile tracks, plans for the team to stay together for the future, and what it felt like to be underrated going into 2021. Then, in part 2, we talk about his relationship and friendship with two-time Outlaw champion Jason Myers, and the difficulties of making the most of awesome opportunities whilst also dealing with the perception of being a spoiled kid. Please let me know what you think of this video by liking it, commenting on it, and sharing this video. And if you haven't already, down below, please subscribe to the Sprint Car Hub YouTube channel. Here's my chat with Carson. Carson Macedo, you won last time in Knoxville, the two-night show. You must be excited to head back to Knoxville.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's just we have some momentum. I feel like rolling into the biggest week of the year. The Kings Royal we ran a few weekends ago, and although it paid really good money, I do feel like the Knoxville Nationals just pays so well all the way throughout the field and a whole week and the prelim nights, and it's such a historic event. To be able to run well there and even have a shot at winning is going to be pretty exciting. So I feel like I said, we went there in May, and myself and JJR, were able to win back-to-back nights, at that racetrack and just have a lot of speed. And I felt like I gained a lot of knowledge at the track as a driver and got myself really comfortable. And I think Philip learned a few things on the race car too, that not that he didn't already get around Knoxville amazing with, his past drivers, but I feel like getting me comfortable was a big deal. And I definitely felt that way after the weekend was over. So to be rolling into there with 2 wins this year already and a lot of momentum into such a big historic week that could be a make or break year for us financially is really cool.
This isn't your first Nationals with the 41 car, and the 41 car with Philip Dietz as crew chief has always run well at Knoxville, the Nationals, and just on half miles in general. You're one of the favorites going into the race. You're definitely in my top 3. Are you nervous, or has this year with Jason Johnson Racing given you a lot of confidence?
So it's funny you say that. Like when I drove the car back in 2018, a lot of people asked me that same question. Are you nervous leading into this? This car's won the Knoxville Nationals. It's had such amazing runs at Knoxville. Philip's a proven mechanic at the racetrack, and at that time I really hadn't had any success at Knoxville at all. But I think my answer now is probably the same as back then in 2018. Every time I show up to the racetrack, whether it's the Knoxville Nationals or a local 360 race here in California, I give 110%. I give it everything I can, and I give all the effort I can to win the race and to do well. So I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I've learned in sprint car racing and really in my career and in sports in general, I feel like is more about having process goals. So my process goals are, I go to the gym every single day. That's not a race day. I read books. I study books. I talk to a sports psychologist. I try and study video. I do all those things to lead up and to be prepared for that event. And I feel like, at this point, I feel like I'm very prepared. I feel like I'm going to continue to prepare for the Knoxville Nationals. And I'm excited to be there with such a great team. I think at the end of the day, the pressure side of it for me goes away just because I know I'm going to be there with a team that's capable. So all I need to do is go there and give 110%, follow along with my process goals. And, whether I'm nervous or not, whatever the outcome is what it's going to be. So was my theory back in 2018. And that's really the way I went into it. And I felt like I did well because I didn't have much pressure on my shoulders, because it was like, at the end of the day, the outcome is going to be what it's going to be. So I'm excited. I'm happy that back when we went there in May, that we had the speed to win races. And I think that I really have confidence in myself and my abilities, and obviously Philip and, Clyde, Nate, and my team, and Jason Johnson Racing, that we have a good shot at winning.
After one of your wins earlier this season, I heard you say in the post-race interview that you felt that you could run your car as hard as you want into the corner and it wouldn't slip up. I'm not sure fans would really understand how awesome that is and how important it is to be able to do that. What is it about the Jason Johnson Racing car and the team that makes you guys so fast on half miles and able to do those sorts of things? Is it, Philip himself? Is it, just the way they've developed with Jason over the years? What is it that makes that car so good on half miles in particular?
So I think it has, I really think that racing is all about building blocks. And I feel like that's what they've done over a long period of time. And that's why they've gotten to be so good on half mile racetracks and the bigger super speedways. Yeah. I do feel like their quarter mile 3/8 program is very good as well. But, it seems like when we do get on those big half mile racetracks that we seem to shine through just a little bit more. And I think it has a lot to do with, the package that Philip and Jason built over a long period of time, and the package that Philip continued to build with David. And I feel like now, with myself, I think that my driving ability on half miles, being on the Outlaw Tour, when you're on the World of Outlaw Tour, you just don't have a choice but to get good on half miles, because we race on them so often. I mean, look at the start of the year. Like, we start in Florida, we then go straight to we race in Texas and then Vegas is a half mile. Then we kind of race through California, right? And you go to Paris, which is a big track, but other than that, it's pretty small. But then you leave there and it's like Eldora, Knoxville, Williams Grove, Lakeside. Like, there's just so many. I feel like there's so many more big tracks than we race at small tracks. So, getting your package good on those big racetracks is super important. And I just feel like that's what they've done. Like, they have, Maximum race cars and Kistler engines. I think their engines run really well. I think, I think that their wing package, everything that they've put together is built to time in well on big tracks, or just time in well in general. And I just feel like Philip Dietz, as a crew chief, understands the way the car works. And, on half miles, it gives him a little bit of a chance to watch the car and see what it's doing, and then make adjustments based on what he sees out on the racetrack and what the car is doing lap after lap. So that's a little bit harder to do on a quarter mile and a 3/8, just because on the smaller tracks, as I mean, you're throwing the car around a lot more. You're doing a lot more movement as a driver, where on a half mile, you can only do so much based on how good your car is. Like, if you're too tight, it's hard. You run the thing down in there and turn it on entry. And on a half mile, as like, you can't do that. You have to, the straighter you are and the better that wing's cutting through the air, the faster you're going to be. So, like you said, a lot of fans might not understand that, but, the JJR car just seems like, early in the night, it can lay down a lap and time in well. But then as the night goes on, Philip Dietz, Clyde Knipp, and Nate Repitz, they just seem to keep my race car stuck into the racetrack, so I can run down into the corner and I don't feel like I lose grip or traction, and my car drives across the corner, with the wheels underneath me. And I think that's 90% of winning some of these outlaw races. I mean, you look at World of Outlaw races in general, night after night, there's probably a good 8 or 9 guys that can win on any given night. Maybe, arguably a lot more. But, guys that are traveling full time with the series. And I feel like most nights, the difference in the guy that wins and that doesn't is the difference in his race car. And if your car's good, you're going to go to the front. So I think Philip's just an amazing mechanic. I mean, I think he's an engineer. He graduated with an engineering degree. He applies a lot of that knowledge, and I think the data over time that he's accumulated has now built into what you see and what everybody sees, the speed and they spent a lot of hours in the shop when they were running ASCS, and then when they came on the Outlaw Tour, they weren't fast like that right away, but they've built those components in that package, and over time collected enough data to say, okay, this is where we need to be to make maximum, horsepower, speed, and make our car work right. So, I gotta say, man, like, I owe it all to my team, like JJR, and has elevated me on these tracks. And I feel like I've learned a lot now as a driver, just because my car is so capable to go anywhere. But man, it helps a lot having your car be really good.
You must be enjoying driving the JJR car when you're running as well as you are. How does it work between yourself and the team about looking into the future and where you guys are at? Is it just we're happy with each other right now and it's just a, infinite relationship, or do you guys take it 1 year at a time? I just really think that fans would love to learn the details of those sorts of things.
Yes, I mean, I think we take it 1 year at a time for the most part. Like, when we commit to the World of Outlaw Tour, we commit year by year. But at the end of the day, man, like, I truly do feel like, talking to the team and Philip, and Philip's young. I mean, he's only in his mid 30s, right? So I'm 25. Clyde is 23 and Nate's 26. So we're a fairly young team. So we get along really well. And for the most part, love hanging out with each other. So, we although it is the first year, so, a lot of people can say, well, it's kind of the honeymoon stage, but at the end of the day, man, like, I just feel like we have a great relationship. Like, nobody argues. We're all working towards the same common goal. I do feel like Philip's a leader, and I feel like he does a very good job leading those two guys. And, they have an opportunity to learn from, in my opinion, one of the best mechanics in the business right now. So, I think that that's exciting for them. And I think, myself as a driver, like, I hope that JJR lasts my entire career, and then I can keep working with Philip forever, but, we all know how sprint car racing works, and anything can happen at any given moment. So you never count your chickens before they hatch. But, I think Philip, from the small amount that I've talked to him about it, I feel like he's very excited for the future. I think that he sees longevity in this team, and now his ownership role on the team has probably got him a little bit more excited about, making it more of a long-term effort. He's doing a great job, and, we have a lot of people wanting to get involved, which is awesome, for him. And I'm happy for him, sponsorship wise. And, we're running good. So anytime you're running good, I feel like more people want to get involved. And, I think, there's some announcements coming in the future that I feel like, are really good for our team. So, JJR as an organization, I feel like is young and like early and new, really, to me, right? With Philip as an owner, and with me as a first year driver for the team. And I think that we can build and grow. And I know, Philip told me the other day he was planning, he was already, planning to order some parts. So me as a driver, that makes me feel good, right? Because if he's ordering parts, that means, hopefully he's excited to do it again next year. So I feel like we're in a good spot, man. I definitely don't think that, Philip bought the team just to race for 1 year, so I'm excited for the future. I think Philip's a young guy, and we have a lot in common, and I think we can grow, man. And I think, currently second in points. Obviously the year is not over. We've 30 races to go or something like that. But, I feel like we're running well, and in the future, if we keep building with this momentum, I think that we could be a threat to, win a championship someday. And, that's my ultimate goal. And I would hope that that's the team's ultimate goal as well.
You're currently second in Outlaw points, which is incredible. That you must be stoked about that. But ahead of this season, I listened to podcasts and watch videos where, people and experts were kind of pushing on Logan, Brad, Donnie, Gravel, and even guys like Sheldon to really put in a good effort for the championship. And
I couldn't help but think like you're being totally overlooked. And I was like, man, like this guy's in, you know, one of the best cars. He's driving incredible. He's winning races. Like you're doing the job. You don't tear up a lot. Like, why is this guy not being included in the hunt for a championship? And it's proving now because you're second in points. But did you notice that? And if so, how did that stuff affect the way you went about racing?
So I did notice that. Definitely. I mean, as much as we all say we don't want to read those things and look at those things, like of course we do. Like we want to see what people's predictions are, and for me, like I actually really enjoyed that, and I actually think that it's been a part of the reason for my maybe my success this year and why I feel like I've been able to do a little bit better job. The biggest thing is, I've always been pretty active in the gym and tried to go the extra mile, but I feel like I've ramped it up to a whole new level this year. Like I'm probably at the fittest I've ever been. I feel like I spend a lot more time watching videos than I ever have. I'm flying home more often to try and get away so that I'm in a clear mindset and so that I perform the best I can. And although that might cost me money to do that, I feel like it's investing in myself. And so anyway, my point in all that is I've tried to go the extra mile because I saw a lot of that fueled me to be better. So in the past, right, in my first 2 years on the World of Outlaw tour, something that I struggled with was getting timed in well. Like I always was at the end of the year, the plus minus, I would be one of the cars that passed the most cars at the end of the year, but I wouldn't necessarily win many races because I was always starting so far back. Like we would qualify horrible, so but a part of me was really thankful for that, because the first 2 years, man, on the World of Outlaw tour, I really got an education in how to charge through the field. Like a lot of the nights I'd start 15th or around that realm. And so I'd have to drive really aggressive and make moves to pass good race cars, because as like, man, when you're starting 15th in the Outlaw race, like you line up and some of the best guys in the country are still around you in the back of the field, so you really have to hustle hard to make moves and to make ground up. So at the end of the year, what would struggle more than anything that I noticed in the championship is it's almost a direct correlation on top fives. Whoever has the most top fives, typically it goes, most top fives, second most top fives, third most, and that's pretty much normally how the points lines up at the end of the year. So what I was seeing was I could run inside the top 10 just as consistently as Brad and Donnie and those guys, but I couldn't break into the top 5 near as often. And so I thought a lot of that had to do with the fact that I wouldn't qualify well. So I'd start so far back that running 7th was a win, running 6th was a win, but breaking in the top 5 was a little bit tougher. So, at JJR, I just feel like I've been able to time in better. I've been able to qualify better as a whole, and it's really helped my results. And, my top 5s are pretty close in line with Brad and David and all those guys. So, I did notice that at the beginning of the year, and I saw that a lot of people weren't really including us in that fight for the championship. But I will say, I felt like leading into the year with JJR that, I thought that I had confidence in my team. And I knew after we left Florida that we would be in a good spot as long as I could consistently finish races. And I think that's the part that has changed for my racing. Forever I was that driver that was just 100%, send it balls to the walls all the time. And I've just gotten to the point now where I run the bottom more often than I ever have. I think about finishing races. There's nights where I do go bounce off the fence once or twice, and I think, oh man, like I need to tame it down and finish, because the only way that you can win the championship is to eliminate DNFs. And I feel like I've been able to, to start doing that more and more often. So, I'm a part of me when it was happening was upset that I wasn't getting included in that. But, it was the best thing that ever happened, because it fueled me to be a better me and to prove those people wrong. So, to this point, we've been doing a good job, but we just have to continue to keep our heads down and execute.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Sprinker Hub YouTube channel. You can also find Sprinker Hub on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for watching.